50 лет Победы. Construction on Project 1052-1 started on 4th October 1999 at Baltic Works in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, USSR. Originally the ship was named Ural. Work was halted in 1994 for lack of funds, so that the actual 50th anniversary of Victory Day in 1995, after which she was named, found the ship in abandoned state. Construction was restarted in 2003. On 30th November 2004, a fire broke out on the ship. All workers aboard the vessel had to be evacuated, while the fire crews battled the fire for some 20 hours before getting it under control. One worker was sent to the hospital. She was finally completed in the beginning of 2007, after the 60th anniversary. The icebreaker sailed into the Gulf of Finland for 2 weeks of sea trial on 1st February 2007. Upon completing the sea trials, the icebreaker returned to St. Petersburg Baltic shipyard and started preparations for the maiden voyage to Murmansk. The ship showed superior characteristics of an icebreaker, such as exceptional maneuverability and a top speed of 21.4 knots. She arrived at the home port Murmansk on 11th April 2007. The icebreaker is an upgrade of Arctica class, the 159.6 meters long and 30 meters wide vessel with a displacement of 25,840 metric tons is designed to break through ice up to 5 meters thick, and it was powered by two OK900A nuclear reactors, each one developing 171 megawatts, and two turbo generators, each one peaking at 27.6 megawatts. She had a crew of 140. 50 лет Победы is also an experimental project. For the first time in the history of Russian icebreaker, the design incorporated a spoon-shaped bow. As predicted by the ship's designer, such a shape increase in the efficiency of the ship's effort in breaking the ice. The icebreaker is equipped with an all-new digital automated control system. The biological shielding complex was heavily modernized and recertified by the State Commission. A new ecological compartment was created. The ship has an athletic/exercise facility, a swimming pool, a library, a restaurant, a massage facility, and a music salon at the crew's disposal. A group of eclipse chasers have used the vessel to observe the eclipse of 1st of August 2008. They departed from Murmansk on 21st July 2008 and reached the North Pole on 25th July of 2008, which set a speed record for the ship. The trip lasted 4 days instead of 7. The USS Nautilus. The USS Nautilus SSN 571 was the world's first operational nuclear-powered submarine and the first submarine to complete a submerged transit of the North Pole on 3rd of August 1958. Her initial commanding officer was Eugene Parks Dennis Wilkinson, a widely respected naval officer who set the stage for many of the protocols of today's nuclear navy, and who had storied career during military service and afterwards. Sharing a name with Captain Nemo's fictional submarine in Jules Verne's classic 1870 science fiction novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and the USS Nautilus SS-168 that served with a distinction in the World War II. The new nuclear-powered Nautilus was authorized in 1951, construction began in 1952, and the ship launched in January 1954, attended by Mamie Eisenhower, First Lady of the United States, wife of the 34th President, Dwight D. Eisenhower. It was commissioned by the following September into the United States Navy. The final construction was completed in 1955. Because her nuclear propulsion allowed her to remain submerged far longer than the diesel-electric submarines, she broke many records in her first years of operation and traveled to locations previously beyond the limits of submarines. In operation, she revealed a number of limitations in her design and construction. This information was used to improve subsequent submarines. It was powered by an STR nuclear reactor, later redesigned S2W, geared steam turbines, two shafts with a power output of about 10 megawatts, and it managed to reach the top speed of 23 knots. Sapphire. Between October 1989 and May 1991, the boat undertook a major refit which revolved around upgrades to the level of the lead vessels in the class, the Amethyst. In September 2001, the boat torpedoed and sank the target ship, the commissioned destroyer Distress of Toulon. On 6th of March 2015, it was reported and in a later erased blogspot of the French Ministry of Defense that during a training exercise of Florida Sapphire, in her role as part of the enemy attack group, had sunk the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt and its escort. After 35 years of active service, Sapphire was decommissioned in July 2019, making her first Verbies-class SSN to be decommissioned. The Sapphire will be replaced by a new Barracuda-class SSN. It was 73.6 meters long with a beam of 7.6 meters and was powered by pressurized water K-48 nuclear reactor, 48 megawatts, 64,000 horsepower, 2 turbo alternators, 1 electric motor, 7 megawatts or 9,400 horsepower, 1 propeller, 1 diesel alternator, SCMT peel stick, HPA 4V185SN, 1 auxiliary engine, 5 megawatt or 7,600 horsepower, all combined capable of traveling over 25 knots. Charles de Gaulle. The carrier replaced Foch, the conventionally powered aircraft carrier, in 2001. Clemenceau and Foch were completed in 1961 and 1963, respectively. The requirement for a replacement was identified in the mid-1970s. The hull was laid down in April 1989 at the ECNS Brest Naval Shipyard. The carrier was launched in May 1994. At 42,000 tons, was the largest warship launched in Western Europe since the HMS Ark Royal in 1950. She was to be named Richelieu in 1986 by the French president at the time, François Mitterrand, after the famous French statesman Armand Jean Duplessis, Cardinal Richelieu. On 18th of May 1987, however, the name of the ship was changed to Charles de Gaulle by the Gaullist Prime Minister at the time, Jacques Chirac. Construction quickly fell behind schedule as the project was starved of funding, which was worsened by the economic recession in the early 1990s. Total cost for the vessel would top 3 billion euros. Work on the ship was suspended altogether on 4 occasions: 1990, 1991, 1993 and 1995. The ship was commissioned on 18th of May 2001, 5 years behind the projected deadline. With a displacement of 42.5 thousand tons, length of 261.5 meters, it had to be well powered and its power came by 2 Areva K-15 pressurized water reactors or PWR, 150 megawatts each, 2 Alstom steam turbines with a total of 61 megawatts shaft power, 4 diesel electrics and 2 shafts, and it was reaching about 27 knots at top speed. The Nimitz. The Nimitz class is a class of 10 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in service with the United States Navy. The lead ship of the class is named after World War II United States Pacific Fleet Commander Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, who was the second to last living U.S. Navy officer to hold the rank, preceding William Halsey Jr. With an overall length of 333 meters and full load displacement of over 100,000 long tons. The Nimitz-class ships were the largest warships built and in the service until USS Gerald R. Ford entered the fleet in 2017. Instead of gas turbines or diesel-electric systems used for propulsion on many modern warships, the carrier used 2 A4W pressurized water reactors which drive 4 propeller shafts and can produce a maximum speed of over 30 knots and maximum power of around 260,000 shaft horsepower or 190 megawatts. As a result of the use of nuclear power, the ships are capable of operating for over 20 years before refueling and are predicted to have a service life of over 50 years. They are categorized as nuclear power aircraft carriers and are numbered with consecutive hull numbers between CVN 68 and CVN 77. All 10 carriers were constructed by Newport News Shipbuilding Company in Virginia. The USS Nimitz, the lead ship of the class, was commissioned on 3rd of May 1975. And USS George H.W. Bush, the 10th and the last of the class, was commissioned on January 10, 2009. Since 1970s, Nimitz-class carriers have participated in many conflicts and operations across the world, including Operation Eagle Claw in Iran, the Gulf War, and more recently in Iraq and Afghanistan. The angled flight decks of the carriers use Kato bar arrangement to operate aircraft, with steam catapults and arrestor wires for launch and recovery, as well as speeding up flight decks operations. This allows for a much wider variety of aircraft than with the STOVL arrangement used on smaller carriers. An embarked carrier air wing consists of up to around 90 aircraft is normally deployed on board. After the retirement of the F-14 Tomcat, the air wing strike fighters are primarily F/A-18E and F/A-18F Super Hornets, and F/A-18A Plus, and F/A-18C Hornets. In addition to their aircraft, the vessels carry short-range defensive weaponry for anti-aircraft warfare and missile defense. The unit cost was about $8.5 billion US. Pyotr Veliki. Pyotr Veliki is the 4th Hero-class battlecruiser of the Russian Navy. It was initially named Yuri Andropov, the former General Secretary of the Communist Party, but the ship's name was changed after the fall of the Soviet Union. The Russian designation for the type is Heavy Nuclear Missile Cruiser, but Western defense commentators have resurrected the term battle cruiser to describe them, as they are the largest surface combatant warships in the world. Pyotr Veliki is the flagship of the Northern Fleet. Construction of the ship was delayed by a lack of funding due to the national economic problems before and after the fall of the Soviet Union. It was not completed and commissioned until 1998, 12 years after work had started. By then it had been renamed Pyotr Veliki, Russian for Peter the Great. Pyotr Veliki has been known to carry two pennant numbers during its service, 183 and currently 099. It was powered by two-shaft nuclear propulsion with steam turbine boost and was capable of cruising of 30 knots with a maximum range of around 1,000 nautical miles. The SSV-33. The SSV-33 Ural, NATO reporting name Kapusta, Russian for cabbage, was a command and control naval ship operated by the Soviet Navy. The SSV-33's hull was derived from that of the nuclear-powered Kiro-class battle cruisers with nuclear marine propulsion. The SSV-33 served in electronic intelligence, missile tracking, space tracking, and communications relay roles. Due to high operation costs, the SSV-33 was laid up. The onboard radio reconnaissance system was called Coral. This involved two computer types, Elbrus and several EC-1046 computers. SSV-33 carried only light defensive weapons. These were two AK-176 76mm guns, 4 AK-630 30mm guns, and 4 quadruple Igla missile mounts. The SSV-33 was assigned to the Pacific Fleet, but there was no pier large for the ship. She was forced to anchor out. Machinery had to remain running while at the anchor to support other systems and its crew. The ship became a floating barracks. She never went to sea, while her powerful radio electronic equipment gradually began to decay. The initial value of the ship's disposal contract was around $310 million. The work was performed in the Bay of Bolshoi Kamen in Primorsky region and completed by late 2018. It was a standard 265 meters long and 30 meters wide and was powered by a mighty two-shaft combined nuclear and steam Konus 66.5 thousand horsepower or 49 megawatts, 2 KN3 nuclear propulsion with two GT3A 688 steam turbines, 140,000 shaft horsepower or 100 megawatts, capable of cruising at 21.6 knots.